Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin has been feeling a little bit uncomfortable because it's been days, maybe even 3 to 4 of them, since anyone has said, what the hell is Ron Johnson talking about? So he remedied that situation. He went on the Vicki McKenna show to discourage people from taking the COVID vaccine because apparently too many people are getting it. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Listen, I was a big supporter of Operation Warp Speed. I thought that was brilliant, the way we squeezed every inefficiency out of developing vaccine. But from my standpoint, because it's not a fully approved vaccine, I think we probably should have limited the distribution to the vulnerable, to people that really aren't, to the very young. I see no reason to be pushing vaccines on people. I mean, what is the point? If of course, the science tells us that vaccines are 95% effective. So if you have a vaccine, quite honestly, what do you care if your neighbor has one or not? I'm getting highly suspicious of what's happening here.
It's about control and it's about power. And if you crave control and power, you will do anything to keep control and power. And our big mistake was giving them access to it in the first place.
We're gonna get back to the whole giving them the access to power in the first place, because I'm not really sure who she expects to have power if one side isn't supposed to have any, maybe the other side. Either way it goes. According to Forbes, the comments put Johnson at odds with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, as we've all heard also. He spent much of the last Senate recess urging Republican men to get vaccinated amid public opinion polling that shows that they are the least likely to do so. Also, by the way, I want to get to one more clip of how he continued on with the way Republicans approach things versus the way Democrats do. And apparently Democrats are doing this all for control and they're just looking to scare you. What you think about that after you think about the things Republicans always say to their constituents? Let's listen to this second soundbite.
That they're all designed to keep America and Americans in a state of fear.
Yes.
They're trying to scare the you-know-what out of our young people. And they've done, by the way, they've done a pretty good job at making our children almost hair trigger in becoming fearful at the next fear-mongering issue. That they want to keep us in a state of fear so they can control our lives. Again, this is another thing that I do not understand about liberals. Why do they want to control somebody else's life? Why don't you take care of your own life? Get your own affairs in order. Let us live our lives. The liberals, they want to serve in government and they want to pass laws to control our lives. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. But that's the dynamic.
Well, before we get to what his deity, Donald Trump, has been saying about the vaccine, what do you guys think, Jim?
All right, so a number of things here. First, he said, Democrats are trying to keep us in fear. Said from the party who ran the Southern strategy, which is the whole point was fear black people and vote Republican. And they did it again in this election, of course. Oh my God, there's black protesters in the suburbs. Oh, there's gonna be no rule of law anymore. The black people are coming. Republicans are talking about fear. Then 9/11, the terrorists are coming. The terrorists are coming. We have to invade all these countries and etc. And oh my God, the immigrants are coming and gay people are coming, etc. etc.
Crime, pack your guns, everything.
The whole point of the Republican Party is fear, 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 fear. It's all projection. Every single thing that Ron Johnson's saying is projection. They want to use fear to control our lives. Number one, Ron, I got news for you. I couldn't care less about your life. You do whatever the hell you want. I just don't want you to be a senator because that affects rules and laws and regulations that affect my life, okay? But outside of that, have at it, Hoss. You don't want to take a vaccine, you want to run naked in the woods and rub honey all over yourself and try to find bears to cuddle up to? Go for it, brother. What do I care? I encourage it. I don't care at all, right? They have this insane fantasy, and it's again not a fantasy, it's a projection. Tucker Carlson talks about it all the time too. Oh my God, they're gonna make us drink Starbucks coffee if they win. As far as I know, Biden in his first 100 days has not done any executive orders on forcing you to drink Starbucks coffee, or the one he should do, toostrongcoffee.com/DYT. All right, anyway, seriously. But the reason they want to control your lives is we want to get between you and your doctor. We don't want you to have an abortion. We want to make that decision for you. We don't want you to have that kind of sex. So we're gonna get into your bedroom, into the most private place to tell you, no, because of my so-called morality, I'm gonna tell you who you can and can't love. I can give you 1,000 examples of how the Republicans are in favor of big government that want to control our lives. In this case about the vaccine, none of his arguments made any sense. He didn't bother trying to make sense because he's a Republican and only idiot Republicans are listening. So they're like, oh, in the beginning he said it's not fully effective, so why bother taking it? What? If it's something is 95% effective, that means there's an excellent reason to take it because there's a 95% chance you won't get coronavirus if you take the vaccine. And then later he said, it works, it's 95% effective, it works so well, what do you care if we take the vaccine or not? Well, which one is it? Yep. You made both arguments. But again, logic and intelligence not required for the Republican Party. I can go on, but Julie, step in.
Well, if I didn't know that he was a senator, I would have thought that this was the Friday night comedy hour because I couldn't stop like smiling and smirking as he was speaking. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but my goodness, one of the first things I heard coming from him was, it's not fully approved, so go ahead and give it to the most vulnerable. What is he trying to do, kill him off? I'm like, if it's not fully approved and if it's not safe, yeah, let's give it to the most vulnerable and get rid of them. I mean, it's what it sounded like. But this is Republican, playbook Republican speak. It's down is up is down, left is right, right is left, and don't listen to me. It's because what I'm saying is absolutely ludicrous. And to your point, Cenk, it's why do they want to interfere in my life? Why do they want to make legislation in my life? Okay, well. Let's go back to Roe v. Wade. What is happening in every state legislature right now that is controlled by a Republican Senate, House, and governor? They are trying to restrict choice in these states. And in my state and in Georgia, we're trying to restrict people from voting, for crying out loud. So we have 49 laws passing, working their way through our state house right now that would minimize the ability for people to vote. So, it's again, don't follow my model, It's so ludicrous, and you have to you really have to really think so hard. Like, this is a senator. This should be a respectable office. This guy should be intelligent. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's not the qualification to be elected to the Senate in the United States.
Even the intelligent people, we've seen intelligent folks that had good things to say, then suddenly something flips in their brain. I think it was their bank account, and they're thinking, hey, I need to start saying mindless things that appeal to certain voters because that's where we've conditioned these voters. We see it all the time. A lot of times it's with punditry, but every once in a while it's with an elected official. But I want to point out the one difference he's at odds with his favorite president, Donald Trump, who at the same time in this next video clip, he both is in favor of the vaccine. Every once in a while, Donald Trump is, whenever it has this small chance to benefit himself. And he doesn't understand why all these Republicans aren't taking the vaccine. He just can't figure it out. So I wonder how Ron Johnson is going to go against the things that his favorite person in the world has said. With Sean Hannity, listen here.
They all want me to do a commercial because a lot of our people don't want to take vaccine. I don't know what that is exactly. Republican, I don't know what it is.
You encourage people to get it.
I encourage them to take it, I do.
He encourages them to take it, he does, but he doesn't know why these Republicans won't take it. Maybe it's every other Republican that is locked in step with the way that you approached the COVID crisis the entire year, and then the vaccine part. Now we're supposed to reverse it because you've lost. I don't know how they're gonna square this circle, but I guess they're gonna keep trying, or maybe they're not even gonna try. They don't need to.
So, but that's who Donald Trump is, right? He speaks out of both sides of his mouth. That's actually, to be fair to him, it was effective, and that's how he won the Republican nomination back in 2016 in the first place. You could see him A/B test messages in speeches. So now I'm going to use an example that he did years ago, and not during the campaign. But he would go in a speech and say, like, immigrants are the backbone of this country, and then people would be like, boo, right? And then he would say, immigrants are a scourge, and they're like, yeah! And he's like, okay, we're going with immigrants being criminals and rapists, right? And because he's just a con man, he's just looking for what the crowd is responding to. So in this case, for the intelligentsia and the people he might want to do business deals with, he says, oh yeah, take the vaccine, and he does that. But for his fans who don't read, he doesn't get caught on video taking the vaccine. That's why he took the vaccine secretly in January. So that's him trying to play both sides. Now for Ron Johnson, he's up for re-election in 2022. So what he's doing is basically the same thing Tucker Carlson's doing. I think Tucker might be running for president 24, so he's taking this more significantly, more bluntly racist turn, right? And so now Ron Johnson is saying, oh no, I wasn't scared for my life during the Capitol riots where they were looking to hang people because they were good Trump fans. But if it was Black Lives Matter, then I would have been scared. Well, it's just blatantly racist, right? These guys actually did kill people, but I'm not scared of them because they're white. But my God, if they were black people, that's the people who you should be afraid of, right? So now on this one, he's just going, oh, here's another thing that appeals to the average Republican voter, being more conspiratorial. So he's like, now remember, I hate black people, and vaccines, yeah, I'm worried about it. There's something in there, and why are they? So it's 95% effective. That's why you should take it and not take it. That's why we should just give it to the. Since it's dangerous, we should, as Julie pointed out, we should give it to the people who need it the most. And that's why. What are you talking about? It doesn't matter. You get the irony here. What he's trying to do is tell Republican voters, you are right to be afraid of the vaccine, as he talks about how the Democrats are trying to drive fear. The more afraid Republican voters are, either of black people or vaccines or fill in the blank, the more likely it is for Ron Johnson to win, and hence this direction.
Absolutely, and I would remind folks that at the beginning, one of the first things that Ron Johnson said was that he was in favor of it when it was Operation Warp Speed. So under Trump's administration, he was in favor of the vaccine development and getting it to market. But under Biden's administration, oh my God, whoa, hold there. And can I remind y'all that Trump named something after like a Star Trek thing, Live Long and Prosper, Operation Warp Speed. So just kind of shows you the intelligence of who was in charge a year ago.
My last thought, because you brought up Julie, is there was people that were talking about the hypocrisy of Democrats and libs, whoever they wanted to talk about, that once Trump was out of office, they were like, oh, so now you guys are into the vaccine. And then that was getting pushed as this hypocritical moment for all these, specifically, I think it was Vice President Kamala Harris that was talking about that, and they said, oh, it was all upsetting. So, but the thing is there was a reason behind that. If you've changed your mind about the reasons why you're gonna do something, there was a direct reason. Donald Trump lied for over a year about what was going on with COVID. So why would we believe anything he's doing when it comes to the vaccine, especially since he openly said from the beginning of it, hey, the Trump administration is working on a vaccine when they had no idea what was going on yet, and they were dismissing it on the side. So it was all about getting him reelected. And then once reelection didn't happen, who cares anymore? So that was the guy you don't trust because he's the biggest liar we've ever had in modern day history as a president. So why would you trust someone like that? There's a reason behind your change in opinion. The change in opinion here is just strictly one party took over and this new guy who, I don't know, I'm sure he's lied many times, but about COVID, he's listening to the experts and the scientists. So what's the reason again?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one last thing about it. They claim that that's hypocrisy. They're like, oh, you didn't want to try the different things that Trump wanted to try when he was in office, and all of a sudden, now that we have the vaccines and Biden's in office, you're taking them. Yeah, because Trump wanted us to inject ourselves with bleach. So no, we weren't going to just try that and trust them, or hydroxychloroquine, or any of the other quacky things that they suggested. When they had a real vaccine, even when Trump was in charge and the FDA and everyone else approved it, I would have been the first to take it if they let me, right? Yeah. We just got to take it under Biden because that's when it came up. So but again, guys, the why she can say outrageous thing, the host of that program, like we should have never given them access to power, which means what? We shouldn't have let them vote, right? It's just pretty outrageous thing to say. And Ron Johnson can lie to no end and be hypocritical, etc., because they know the Republican voter doesn't care. All they care about is fear. If you rile up them to get afraid of people, that will motivate them to go to the polls and go, the Republicans are gonna keep us good white folks safe. Okay, I vote for you, Ron Johnson. That's how it works. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.